Let's start with the call to order. Then roll call and declaration of quorum.
Mr. Lau.
Present.
Mr. Griffin.
Present.
Dr. Matusik.
Here.
Mrs. Charmison. Here.
I'd like to welcome all of our visitors this evening. It's nice to have a crowd here. I didn't have anyone that signed up on the sheet. No one has called me to speak. No one's called you to speak. So we'll move straight into it, the important part of the meeting. And we'll do the item number 3, recognition of 2023-2024 Teachers of the Year.
Just that time of year is just a great time to get to recognize just a few of the members that represent such a great staff. So I'll just start with Early Childhood Center. Ms. Mack, I'll let you take it.
You want to stand up? Thank you, stand up. All right, this is Carla Mangi. She's our Early Childhood Center Teacher of the Year. She has taught for 26 years, and she has taught in only 2 different school districts. Her entry year was at Millwood Public Schools, where she taught physical science and zoology. After being a minority at Millwood, she tries to be more aware of how minority students feel. The remainder of her teaching career has been at Hennessey, teaching kindergarten, 2nd grade, and pre-K. She's been on various committees, such as the Calendar Committee, Outdoor Classroom Committee, Safe School, BLT Committee, and she's been a mentor teacher for first-year teachers. She loves teaching the younger children, and she fosters a love for learning in school in the way that she had teachers at Hennessey do for her. So we're very privileged to have her as our Early Childhood Center Teacher of the Year.
Excited to announce Mrs. Stacy Ward as the Elementary Teacher of the Year. I remember when I first met Stacy, when Mr. McCulley was taking me around on a tour of the school, and she's one of the first teacher, because your room was right there by the office, and I was like, wow, sharp, energetic, enthusiastic. And then he informed me she was leaving at the end of the year to go home to be with her youngest child. But she came back, and I tell you what, every school needs a Mrs. Ward in it. She's the heartbeat of our school. She's positive. Her smile, her positive attitude is contagious to students and staff. And one of the things that I really think most about her is I seek her out for advice, information to kind of get a feel for our school. I know what she tells me in return, is going to be the truth and honest. And it helps me kind of have a feel for our school, having that kind of advice coming from a teacher leader in our school. In fact, today we had some informal conversations in the hallway about such things just like that. So she's continually providing that leadership and that positive attitude in our school. And I really appreciate it, and an honor well deserved for Mrs. Ward.
Thank you.
All right, Kaylina Grillner is our middle school teacher of the year for the middle school. This is her 4th year with Hennessey Public Schools. She started her career with Enid Public Schools. Mrs. Grillner teaches 5th and 6th grade social studies. On top of her teaching, she is also our 5th and 6th grade Quiz Bowl sponsor, and she does after school tutoring for 5th through 8th grade in all core subjects. Mrs. Grillner is always looking for ways to help our students learn in different ways. She took a group of students to Boston last summer to learn about stuff they've been studying in class, and she's planning on another trip for next year. Mrs. Grillner received a grant last year to help fund glasses for students who are colorblind through Enchroma. This made our school the first K-12 school in Oklahoma to offer glasses to colorblind students. Mrs. Grillner does continuous PD through National Geographic, teaching American history in Colonial Williamsburg. Mrs. Grillner is a great model for our student, staff, and community.
The high school, yes.
You better have something nice.
So the high school teacher of the year and also district teacher of the year is Mrs. Riley Faulkner. This is her 8th year teaching, her 3rd year in Hennessey. In her time since she arrived here, she's taken choirs the last 2 years, her first 2 years, to district contests for the first time in several years. But not only did they go to district contests, they qualified for state contests the last 2 years, hoping to do that again this year, I think. She also put on a musical last year, Shrek, the musical junior, and because of the sad or unfortunate, I guess, deal with Newsies. She wanted to offer the seniors this year another musical opportunity, and they're going to be doing the Addams Family musical. Professionally speaking, she's a member of many organizations like American Choral Directors Association, which has an Oklahoma branch, and Oklahoma Choral Directors Association, Oklahoma Music Educators Association. She also sits on the Children's All-State Board with the Oklahoma Music Educators Association and is the president of the Regional Honor Choir, through Oklahoma Choral Directors Association, which is Western Oklahoma Choral Directors Association. And yeah, lots of acronyms and stuff like that. But she always has a positive attitude, works really, really hard. I'm not just saying that because she's my wife, but maybe it is just that. She works really, really hard. She stays after school on her own time to make sure kids are ready for all-state auditions, for competitions, obviously preparing things like the musical and working kids on solos and things like that. So she's just very, very dedicated, and I think she'll do a great job of representing Hennessey, hopefully at the state level for Teacher of the Year. So.
I just want to say congratulations, and we appreciate all the hard work that you guys do, and we can't give you enough accolades for the job that you perform for us. So, congratulations.
Thank you. You guys, you're welcome to stay, but also if you have things to do, you are welcome to go as well. So thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate it very much.
Moving on, item number 4, consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that one of the fellow board members would like to have removed for discussion?
I have none to remove.
There, seeing nothing needs to be removed, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Mr. Lau?
Aye.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Dr. Matusek?
Yes.
Mrs. Charmison?
Yes.
Item number 5, regular business. Discussion and possible board action regarding architectural plans and specifications on the football, baseball parking lot project to be published for competitive bids.
So the plans, right now, I've got a miniature set in between you two and then in between you two that you guys can look at. There is also a large, just overview of the whole set here. That there are a couple changes that from what he sent, I got to reading the specs, and one of them was relocate the sign. So the very first one that you see on this handout here, okay, Ms. Thompson, on this handout here first, I think yours there on the computer. Okay, so I got to reading this weekend on the actual specs and not just looking at the site, and it talked about the relocation of the sign. And you know, the sign I'm talking about right there on the west side of going into the football, baseball field. Well, we had never discussed that. That had always been, no, you need to make sure that is there and design the parking lot around it. So this attachment here on this sheet, that little one there, so kind of blow that up and you can see where it faces north. So you can see the red lines and how that will divert. The sign is now pictured in there, so that this area will be put on these set of plans before sent out. So you lose a total of 8 spaces with what they had, but he just forgot to add those the last time that I brought that to his attention. Okay? The other change that is not a structural change, but as you take, if you were to come into this road from the west and continue to head west, and I've got this illustrated on this sign, and I'll get you guys a copy of this. On this right here.
To head west or east?
I'm sorry, to head east.
Okay.
To head east. So, if you will look, the dotted line on the map where it shows, where it kind of outlines the baseball field. If you look, I've got a red line drawn And so basically from behind third base dugout, that fence will go straight south and tie into the football fence, okay? We'll have a double gate there on the road for football games. That way people can still come around to park or unable to get out of their cars for whatever reason. And then for baseball season, we'll have the double gate there, because along that road where I have it circled, where you have handicap spaces or ADA spaces and the 4 parking spots, those just will not be striped there. Okay, people know they can park there during football season, but they just won't be marked. It's not a place that anybody parks for baseball games because of the foul balls. Plus, that's where the opposing teams park their bus. So that fence that extends north-south will have a walk-in entry gate, and then we'll have the double gate. That way we can monitor crowds and be able to, for admission. The plan on this right now is to go out to bid. It doesn't get into this weekend's paper, so it'll be the following. So the bid opening would be March 14th. We would need to have a special meeting on March 25th or March 26th, that Monday or Tuesday. Do something like at noon, just to award or reject the bids. One other thing, just to make sure, well, I have everybody's attention here too. That will be to decide too, as the bids come in, that intersection right here where you come into the football baseball entry, that northwest corner, everything north is the base bid, everything south is the alternate bid. The base bid, that includes all the drainage work and everything for the north, the drainage for the whole thing along that west side.
It includes the drainage for the whole thing.
Includes the drainage for the whole thing, whether we do
it or
the
not.
alternate, that's correct.
Okay.
He thought the base bid, it sent you numbers on those, rough estimate coming in early right now, just visiting with other bids that they've had. You're looking at around $1 million on that, and then the alternate bid was around $600,000. So we'll see where the bids come in. And then at that point in time, they'll give me a little bit of time to prepare to show you between general fund and building fund where we stand, and do we want to look at doing, one, both, or none. So we can decide that at that March 25th or March 26th meeting. We don't have to set that date tonight. I'll get with you as your schedules as it gets a little closer, because that's right after spring break. So we can set something up and do that. So with that, the question was asked, is it going to be asphalt or concrete? That will be concrete, what they're bidding out. Lights will match what are currently in the city parking lot by the aquatic center. Trying to think of it.
Are we looking at the same size of parking spaces as what we've been talking about?
Yes.
A comfortable.
Yes, and they know to make them a little bit bigger because of the use of trucks that we have. Yes, yeah, they make them a little wider. They don't make them for
11 feet, I see.
Okay, so what you're looking at, by losing those 8 spaces that it had there and then moving that area directly north of the football bleachers, that puts us on the north side, the base bid of 71 spaces, 4 of which are ADA compliant, because they'll slide those to the west. And then if we accept the alternate bid, that gives us a total of 91 spaces, 4 of which are ADA compliant. So Steve could not make it tonight, but he is available if there's any questions that anybody has of him. We've gone through this. It's a pretty simple project, and you guys have asked questions. I've tried to answer those back out here tonight. But if there's anything that is on your mind that we need to call him, we can do so and get an answer.
I don't see it on this one. Were each of the islands, the 4 islands, were they all lit?
They are,
There's
yes.
a standard for
Yes,
each one of those
off the
4.
copy I made, it's just not on that portion, yes. But there's a light section within each of the 4 islands.
Did you visit with him about the movement of those 4 ADA parking spaces to?
Not at this time, I did not.
And the bid package includes also removing concrete or not? So
It includes all the demolition,
includes
tennis
demo.
courts,
All right.
everything out there.
I thought it did.
Yeah, everything out there. That would all be hauled off if we
'Cause
chose.
that's a major part of the.
Yeah, if we chose the south side, you know, that rock that we bought just a couple years ago, we would store that for owner use at a later date.
And if things go as they should, it's still an entire summer-long project.
It is,
right?
it
Into
is.
maybe even school beginning.
I appreciate you bringing that up. Timeframe, you know, our regional, assuming our boys, hopefully we get to host a regional tournament. That is that first weekend in May. I think that Saturday is the 4th, and so if they were to qualify for state, I told Steve, you're still welcome in the bid to let them know they can start May 6th. That would be Monday, May 6th. Because even if they're in practice, they can use the aquatic center parking and come in from the north. He said it's a 90-day plus project, you know, obviously rain, one of the things, but when Patrick and I, he happened to be there today, so I called him, we talked about that. And at the time, he was thinking they could get in around May 20th, wasn't it? And he said it'd be about first to middle of September. And then when I said if we can go May 6th, he said, well, that just push you up that much shorter, obviously, depending on if rain doesn't set them back. So you're looking right, you know, first, at best case, probably mid-August, worst case, September. So have to manage maybe a game or two scrimmage.
I was gonna say, when's our season start officially?
Do you remember when our first, is the year it kind of rotates
It's in,
back?
it's in September.
Yeah, the first game is September.
Yeah,
It's not late August.
okay. I was thinking this was the year it kind of rotates. So.
Any other questions?
I don't think I have it.
So, we really don't need to take any action tonight because we're going to
So
call
what,
a special
the
meeting.
recommendation I would make to you guys is just to approve the plans and the changes as mentioned, and that's what they will send out for bid.
Then I will move that, that we approve these plans with the noted changes and edits, so that it can be prepared for bid.
Second.
Mr. Lau,
Aye.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mrs. Charmison.
Yes.
Item 5.2, board to consider and take possible action pertaining to setting the maturities, date, time, and place of bond sale.
Do we not need to do 5.2 first?
5.2, that is 5.2. Execute any and all documents pertaining
Oh, I
to
thought that
setting.
was to take possible action on appointing a president.
My 5.2 says board to consider and take possible action in the absence of the,
I'm looking at the digital.
yeah, I'm
To
looking at it
appoint.
too.
That's to a point, we don't need that.
Oh.
Anything.
Okay, sorry. I wondered, we're all here. So we'll move on to 5.3 then, is that correct?
Yes.
Board to consider and take action on a resolution determining the maturities and setting a meeting for March 12th, 2024 at 12 p.m. at the Eagle Event Center Conference Room at 605 East Oklahoma for the sale of $1.215 million taxable building bonds of this school district and designating a bond counsel for the issuance of bonds.
This goes back to the original vote on the Dome project where, you know, you're selling the bonds every 2 years, and so this is the year that it comes up to do that on that lease revenue. March 12th, as at noon, that's the day after our regular scheduled board meeting. Shouldn't take very long. They take the bids in, they'll get the bids and let you know right there what.
And it needs to be during the business day, right?
That is
That's why we
correct.
can't do it
That is
evening
correct.
The previous day.
That is correct.
I'll move to approve 5.3 with the addendum that lunch is provided.
What is lunch? Before
Whatever
I
you
vote
tell me.
in favor.
Whatever you tell me.
Well, it's not
Within-
on the agenda, so we can't vote on it now, but I'll send you a private message.
Okay.
Second.
You got a 2-mile
That's
radius
fine.
to choose
I
from.
think Patrick got it. Mr. Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mrs. Charmison.
Yes.
As a follow-up to that, how many more of these, how many did we?
Should have 2 more sales.
2 more sales.
Should be. I'll double check that and make sure, but it should be 2 more.
Excellent.
Okay, no, I did not. Thank you.
Okay, moving forward, next item, going to be new business.
No new business tacked upon.
Item 7, superintendent reports.
Just 2 quick updates on the facilities, transportation building, you guys have seen that going up, I got that encased, and so moving inside, I visited with Kyler, and he said they should be finished by mid to late April on that, so we'll get everything moved over, and then hopefully things go well, they can start on that parking lot project, and that won't have to do anything, our buses will be completely inside and take over that building, so hopefully the timing of that works out. Daycare, I sent you guys an email letting you know that we had a flood there. We got that taken care of. Right now, there was a flooring issue that you just can't have the kids on that. There's too many trip hazards. It's just not a good situation. So I got 1 quote on flooring, waiting on another one. And then when I get that, insurance, working with them of which one to go with. But until we get the flooring in there, then that's when we can bring the kiddos back in. So, give a big thank you and a shout out to the First Baptist Church for stepping up and taking the kids during the day. It's been very handy, and thank them very much.
I'm afraid the kids are going to pick it for a new playground.
Yeah, they're enjoying the Methodist church.
Yeah.
So right now, we don't have a time estimation?
No,
when
we
can
do
return?
not. Mr. Dobbs is getting the walls all taken care of, and we're just waiting on insurance. He must have got busy because he didn't get back with me today, so follow up with insurance tomorrow and try to get that. So
Has insurance been easy to
yeah,
work with?
yeah, they have. OSIG has been very good. He's just out on calls. He just
Right.
yeah. And that's all I have on facilities. I don't have it posted, but we did receive 1 resignation today, and that is Amy Lorenz, and she's a high school English teacher, and that's effective at the end of the year. Her and her husband would like to travel after this year.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Schrumberger on that? When's the expected finish date on the barn, the bus barn?
Mid-April.
Thus far, mid to late April.
Okay. Moving on, item number 8, personnel. Proposed executive session to discuss the appointment of an individual and/or interview candidates for vacant school board seat number 1 pursuant to 25 OS 307B1 and 70 OS 5118, and to discuss employment of principals for the 2024-25 school year. 25 OS Section 307B1.
Move to enter.
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mrs. Charmison.
Yes.
Acknowledge return to open session. We entered executive session at 7:28. All board members were present, along with Mr. Jason Sternberger as our guest. No votes were taken, only agenda items were discussed, and we returned to open session at 8:10 p.m. So, moving on, 8.2, discussion and possible board action regarding the employment of the following principals for the 2024-2025 school year. Mr. Mark Cox, Ms. Stacy Mack, Mr. Barry Crosswhite, Mr. Ricardo Tarango, and Mr. Josh Faulkner.
I make a motion to recommend.
You make a motion?
I knew that's what you needed to say. I would recommend to the board the reemployment of everyone except, no, I just wanted to see their face. All happily have a great set of principals, and I told these guys about that, so I recommend to the board their reemployment.
Move to renew.
Second.
Mr. Lau.
Aye.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mrs. Charmison.
Yes.
Item 8.3, discussion and possible board action regarding the approval of Riley Faulkner as an adjunct teacher for Speech 1, Speech and Competitive Acting, 1 hour for the 2023-2024 school year.
So just a housekeeping measure to get this, make her adjunct teacher until she obtains that certification. So I'd make that recommendation.
There you go. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
There you go. Thank you.
Mr. Lau,
Aye.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Dr. Matusek,
Yes.
Mrs. Charmison.
Yes.
Item 8.4, discussion and possible board action appointing an individual to the vacant school board seat number 1.
I would like to nominate Dakota Semrad to the appointment of board seat number 1.
Second.
Mr. Lau,
Aye.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mrs. Charmison.
Yes.
Item number 9, I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Lau,
Aye.
Mr. Griffin,
Yes.
Dr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mrs. Charmison.
Yes.